Hey guys, Funk Robertson, FunkMMA.com, and today I've got the Surefire formula to finally help you reach your goals. Stay tuned. Okay, so in this video, I'm excited to share with you the Surefire formula to finally helping you reach your goals that you're great at setting but not achieving. And you know what? That's one of the big problems with goal setting is people are amazing at writing down goals that they want to accomplish, but they end up, for whatever reason, quitting or they're not motivated and end up not achieving those goals. And you know what? I used to be the exact same way. I was the king of writing down goals at a huge long list, especially at the beginning of the year, throughout the year, but I could never achieve them until I started to use the SMART system. And that's the Surefire formula I have for you today, is the SMART system. And every one of those letters, S.M.A.R.T, stands for something that'll help you, if you use this and implement this every time you set a goal, will help you reach them, all right? So I'm excited. Let's get started. Okay, so the first part of the SMART acronym stands for specific. You want to be specific. Let me repeat that one more time. When you're creating or making your goals, be specific. And goals that are more specific versus ones that are general are more likely to be reached and attainable. So how do you do that? Well, you're actually creating a mini plan. And the first thing you want to do is write down those goals. And that's really key. You want to write down those goals. Just don't throw them up in the air. Get them on paper. And when you're writing down these goals, you want to ask yourself a few questions. The what, the when, the hows. And by answering those questions, you'll be able to be a little bit more specific. So let's use sparring, for example. Let's use a sparring scenario. Currently, my buddy Carl can spar for 2 rounds without any rest, but he's got a fight in 8 weeks, and he wants to increase his sparring. So the general goal would be, oh yeah, I just want to increase my sparring rounds without rest. That's a general goal. Being more specific would be doing something like, I want to improve my sparring from 2 rounds to 6 rounds without resting. And I'm going to do this by going to sparring classes 2 times a week at my gym. And I'm also going to do Funk MMA's strength and conditioning workouts 3 times to improve my overall conditioning so I can fight. As you can see, I'm totally more specific with that. I'm jotting down what, I'm jotting down when I'm going to go, I'm jotting down why, because I need to improve my conditioning for fighting, and how I'm going to do it, by going to training and by doing Funk's workouts. So as you can see, every goal that you set, no matter how big or how small, should first be put on paper and then use this sort of specific system to write down the key components of what that goal is. Okay, so the next letter in the SMART system stands for measurable. Your goals must be measurable. Let me repeat that one more time. Your goals must be measurable. And what I mean by that is you need to be able to track progress as you're going through and trying to achieve that goal. And you have to be able to measure when you've actually achieved the goal. So if you set a goal and you can't measure its progress, then you're not setting the right goal. So for example, let's take the sparring again. Carl's sparring. Every week he can measure his progress. He can see how much he's improved by trying to push himself to go one more round. And when you achieve some of those smaller goals on your way to the bigger goal, you keep yourself motivated. You see that progress. As long as you stick to the plan that you set in your goal and stick to it, you are going to see progress. You will see it, and that's going to keep you motivated to continue to the grand goal. So make sure you can measure your goals. Measure it any way you can. Keep progress, keep track, so that you can see how you're improving, and yeah, you'll be way more likely to achieve those goals. Okay, so the next letter in the SMART system is A, and that stands for Attainable or Achievable. So let me repeat that. When you set a goal, you have to make sure that it's attainable or achievable. A lot of times when you set goals, you may set a goal that's too far out of your reach and you end up not committing to it. You may have good intentions, you may want to do it, but subconsciously you're going to keep telling yourself, you know what, this is too hard, too tough to commit to, and you end up not even giving it your best try. So when you identify goals as important, you're going to start to develop skills attitudes, and abilities that are going to help you reach those goals. And to make those attainable, you can actually break them down into smaller bite-sized chunks. So let's take Carl sparring, for instance. He wants to increase from 2 rounds to 6 rounds in 8 weeks. What Carl can do is break that down into smaller chunks. So let's say in the first 4 weeks, he wants to increase from 2 to 4. Once he gets that, then all he has is 2 more rounds the next 4 weeks. So as you can see, by breaking it down into smaller chunks, he's motivated, he reaches smaller goals, and he's on his way to attaining the greater goal of 6 rounds. Okay, so the next letter in the SMART system is R, and R stands for realistic. Let me repeat this for you. When you set a goal, it has to be realistic. And by that, I mean you have to be willing and able to work for that goal, or else you're not going to reach it. The other thing is when you set goals, you want to set higher goals other than lower goals. Lower goals just don't give you enough motivation. So let's take Carl, for example. Carl set his goal to go from 4 rounds to 8 rounds. Now he could have easily just said, you know what, I just want to increase my sparring by 1 round and go to 5 rounds. But there's no motivation there, and you're not really improving at all. But even if he sets his mark higher and doesn't reach it, let's say he only gets to 7 rounds, well, that's still okay. He's still improved. He's still going to be way better than he would be at 5 rounds or 4 rounds, and he only has a little bit more to reach that goal. So there's an achievement there, there's success there, and as I was mentioned before, always try to set your goals higher than lower. Okay, so the last letter in the SMART system is T, and T stands for timely. When you set a goal, you have to put a timeline on that goal. And to me, this is one of the most important parts of this system and the important parts of reaching your goals. If you don't set a time, or if you don't set an end date, then your commitment's too vague, there's no urgency, and you'll probably end up quitting. So one of the things you want to do is you have to set an exact end point to your goal. Okay, so let's go with Carl again. Now Carl's goal is to go from 4 rounds of sparring to 8 rounds of sparring nonstop. Now Carl has to put an end date, a timeline to that. So if it's 8 weeks from this day, then Carl needs to get a calendar, write that down, circle the date as the end point. And this way it keeps him motivated, it keeps him tracking his results and tracking how his progress as he gets closer to the date, and he's more likely to succeed and reach his goal than if he didn't have a timeline in place. Okay, so I hope that helped, guys. That's a SMART system. Start implementing this when you're setting goals, man. It's so important. I use this with every single thing that I set, and it works. It works unbelievably. All right, so SMART, make sure that you start using it. It's a new year, so you know what? Instead of setting resolutions this year, start putting down goals and put that SMART system to use. All right, always continue making goals and get it done.